Welcome to another episode of A Woman Full of Soul. I am Mary, and I am here with Marla Diann, who focuses on standing for your worth and dignity. Marla, can you tell everyone what you do every day, what your everyday looks like?
Sure. Hello, everybody. so, um, I am by profession, I'm a success coach and a business strategist and transformational artist for creative entrepreneurs. And I've been doing that for 13 years. Prior to that, I spent a little over 20 years as an entertainment publicist. So I was able to segue back in 2008 my personal branding expertise into coaching, and then it evolved and evolved into success and business coaching. So, what does my everyday look like? Oh
Yeah.
boy. Yeah, sure. Okay, I'm a big believer in absolutely having self care and sacred time to start your day. I am not an advocate of somebody waking up and going right to their phone and their email and then absolutely no, connection with their higher power. So, yes, as my mornings are for me, I don't allow much to touch me in the mornings until about 10 o'clock because I spend that in reading some sort of a positive book, my journaling. I'll pray, I'll do meditation, I'll write my gratitudes in my gratitude journal. I'll set an intention. It's like I really get myself grounded and connected with my, higher power. And then I go to take a walk in nature, and then I come back, and by that time I'm ready for, taking on the day. So I notice a change if I don't do that, which is
Mhm.
rare, very rare. If I don't do that, I'm not in a good place all day. I'm very off balanced, off balance. So I've been doing this for at least 20 years. It's not something that just started. It's something I started when I got serious on my spiritual path. And
Mhm.
then it just deepened and anchored those habits, those rituals, as I not only evolved in my spiritual path, but started coaching because I coach this.
Mhm.
Right? I coach the entrepreneur to have self care, number one, and have a connection, right, with universal energy, higher power, whatever you want to call it. So it's a big part of who I am and what I coach.
What does your coaching schedule look like? Do you end up coaching until 10 p.m. or does it vary every day?
Oh my goodness, no! If you I mean, it's a very good question. People wonder what does that look like for a lot of coaches. Well, first of all, I'm a business coach, along with obviously, the personal development and spiritual development. If you don't have a structure and if you don't have a schedule and when you do coaching and what time you do and the boundaries you have in your business, that's not going to be a very effective or profitable business. So, no, I don't coach at 10 o'clock at night. Never have and never will. So, what it looks like is, and again, these are things that I coach. Mondays and Fridays are my days to work in my business, which is phone calls and marketing and talking to my team and doing all that stuff, right? Writing my blog. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, usually from 12 to 6 is when I allow for coaching, right? Um, and usually I won't do any more than 2 sessions a day because my sessions are very detailed. They are usually 90 minutes to 2 hours each. And they're usually anyone that's in a program, that's usually twice a month.
Mhm.
So for me and my energy and my self care, I will not do more than 2 coaching clients a day. As you know, with with coaching, it can be, you're holding a space for possibility, you're
Mhm.
holding a space for transformation. That's draining.
Yes. It is.
And, emotionally and mentally, it's very draining. Very rewarding, love it, but you also have to be incredibly conscious and protective of your energy, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not a believer of living in the masculine energy all day long. In fact, these are also things that I coach my women entrepreneurs. Is the in fact, I learned this from Gina. The masterful blend of the masculine and feminine, meaning you
Mm-hmm.
have to have both if you're going to run a business. And the masculine is, the systems, the strategies, the function, the linear, the logical, the money making, all of that is masculine. Whereas the feminine is, the intuition, the connection, the collaboration, the creativity, the spirit, all of those beautiful feminine arts.
Mm-hmm.
If we aren't living in both of those each day, most women, our hearts and our spirits shut down and we lose our connection and we become numb. And that's the unfortunate situation with a lot of women
Mm-hmm.
today, entrepreneurs. And I love to help them recalibrate all that
Mm-hmm.
because it's something I practice. So my days are very structured, hour by hour. Right? I plan on Sunday nights for at least 4 hours what my week is going to look like, my calendaring, getting prepared for various things, and by the time Monday starts, I'm ready to go, and I have every single day planned out. Now, does stuff change and throughout the flow? Of course,
Mm-hmm.
of course, but at least I have productivity while I have my freedom.
So
So that,
I have two other questions for you.
yeah,
One is just something that I noticed with, on your site and with speaking with you and looking at everything that you offer, and even through our email exchange,
yeah,
you really have a balance in your own business and the model and the structure that you have that has equal masculine and feminine energy. And I'm saying that because you have the coaching elements, but then you also have the give back elements, right? And there's a whole element there that focuses on the arts too, not just on business coaching itself. So I love that about what you offer. You're very well rounded, not only in the person and in your personality in that way, but your business itself is also very holistic in that way.
thank you.
So
Thank you
yeah,
for that.
and it takes a special personality to be able to do that and to go between those two realms and spheres within their work as well as within oneself. And it seems like you do that very well. I mean,
Well,
on the
thank
site,
you.
when I was looking at the site, I'm like, she's got it. She's got both spheres right there. Some people don't have that. Some people have struggle with the give back, whether they're male or female, with the give back aspect. Some people have struggle with the way they're really working their business or maintaining their business or putting it out there, or the way that they're structuring everything. But it seems like on your site and even speaking with you, that you really have that balance going on in your own self, but then also in your business itself.
Thank
Can
you.
you
That's really nice feedback.
can you speak to everyone a little bit about your give back aspect to your business?
Mhm. Are you talking about my philanthropic activities?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And yes, absolutely. It's very close to my heart. But I want to make a comment about what you just said. So it's very intentional, obviously, the
Mm-hmm.
balance of the masculine, feminine, very intentional in who I am, how I coach, how I live. And so wonderful that you, not knowing me very well, and getting that feel when you went to my site,
Mm-hmm.
because that's my personal brand, right? And
Right.
I'm an expert in personal branding, so, and I coach that as well. your brand, your personal brand is who you are. It's not what you do. Right? And so who I am, pretty much, you kind of nailed it. You know, I've got both a masculine and feminine. I love being in my feminine. Oh my gosh, love it. So, and I also coach spiritual, coaching. I do life coaching. I don't just do business. Right? However, in the business coaching, it's a holistic, and I'm glad you used that word to explain my perception of my brand. That's exactly what I coach in business. It's holistic. It's the person first, and then it's the business structure and the money making.
Right.
I don't just go right into structure and systems and all that. It's, I work with the personal development of the person who's running the business, So all that to say is, yes, as I have a masculine, feminine in everything that touches my life and my business and my clients, And part of the feminine is my give back, I've always done this in business, and I have had 2 businesses over 25 years. I've spent 25 years as a creative entrepreneur, and I've always been involved in some sort of philanthropy. So this happened, and I'll mention the one that I'm working with right now that's here in the South Bay. It came about because I did a rebrand this year, and I'm still in the middle of a rebrand. In fact, my website's going to look completely different in color and photos by January. So what you're seeing now is going away as far as the look and the colors and all that, as well as some of the content. But yes, while I was rebranding this year, because of what's happened with COVID, everybody has had time to reevaluate their lives, get rid of what wasn't enjoyable, get rid of what wasn't working, right? Really kind of reinvent ourselves on whatever level. I looked at my business sometime in March, and this is probably the 4th time I've reinvented myself in 13 years. It's nothing new. But this time it was a super core soul level. And I didn't want to be operating the way I have been because of the changes that went on for me during COVID, which I know we'll talk about in a little bit. So all that to say is, as I was allowing the ideas to come over months, and I made an intention that said, I'm not going to demand answers from my creativity. I'm not going to require a plan. I'm not going to, whatever goes on with a rebrand and a reinvention, I literally went into feminine mode, which was, here's the ideas. I'm going to get divine downloads. I'm going to envision what this might feel like. And as a result of about 5 months, I had a flip chart that ended up looking like a vision board. So as these ideas came through, I would put them onto the vision board, write them, whatever. And so one part of the rebrand, which is now specifically, I've added a lifestyle division to my company.
Okay.
Right? So one of the parts of the rebrand is this nonprofit called the overarching is South Bay Artist Collective, and the program that they offer is called Indivisible Arts. And how this happened and how I got connected to it was in my visioning. I knew I wanted something having to do with the arts, which is something that's been prevalent in my life since a child. Brought up in a very, very creative family. I'm an artist in different ways. I'm a writer. I love visual arts, I love photography, etc. Right? So I knew I wanted something to do with the arts and youth, because I love youth. I love supporting youth. I love supporting youth leadership, transformation, that whole thing. And I'm a mother of now a 30-year-old. I was a single mother while I raised my son. And I raised him with the same love and the same heart and soul as what I want to do with this give back. So I'd say 2-3 weeks after I put the thought and the vision out that's going to attach to my rebrand, about this youth arts organization, have no clue what it was going to be.
Hmm.
I was reading through a magazine, and in there was this full page ad for South Bay Artists Collective. And
Okay.
it caught my attention, and I go, what is this? And this is an example of manifesting all along the way, every part of this rebrand.
Hmm.
That's how that showed up. Went to their website, had a good intuitive hunch about it, emailed the founder. Within 2, 3 hours of that, I get a text from him saying, let's meet. And I've been involved with them since July.
Hmm.
And I am and I'll explain what the organization is. It's phenomenal. Is that I'm more of like an advisor to the founder and his board.
Hmm.
So, bottom line is, I've been with them since July, and what the organization is, it's quite wonderful in that it matches exactly what I was hoping to find, which is
Oh, good.
about it's a it's an organization that's built around creativity, connection, and I call it the healing arts.
Hmm.
So for Gen Z. So we're talking about, the 12 to 17-year olds, even though Gen Z is, I think it's 7 to 22 or something. But the teens today, as you
Hmm.
all know, they are under a tremendous amount of, confusion and stress and anxiety. Not that adults aren't, but this generation, Gen Z, they are in need of expression.
Yes.
Right? They're in need of expression, and it is through art, and it's all mediums of art, not just
Hmm.
painting, that this program offers. Not only does Raphael is the founder, not only does he teach, and it's called Creative Wisdom Tools,
Hmm.
he not only teaches meditation and energy and chakras and universal law and emotional intelligence and consciousness, all of that, right?
Yeah.
In the arts, but then they take that expression and allow them to focus, opposed to being on a phone all day, focus directly on some piece of artwork.
Great.
So it's a group program. I think it runs for about, I think it's 6 to 8 weeks, and then it just repeats itself throughout the year. And it's creating phenomenal results for these kids, as we are hearing from the parents. Years of therapy, completely, compared to what happened in the arts
Hmm.
program, changes within weeks, right? Shyness to being able to express themselves and feel
Hmm.
safe to do that. These children and their families are being changed by this program. So I
That's
am
so good.
duly passionate about it,
Hmm.
very passionate, because of the mission and the cause,
Hmm.
and bringing art back into the lives of these kids, because a lot of schools across America, especially here in California, don't have art in the school anymore. And
Yeah. Did that in your area, did that change before COVID or during COVID?
oh,
Do
that
you
was
know?
before.
Okay.
Yeah, that was before.
Yeah, there were many changes here in New York where artists and the arts were receiving less funding. And then COVID happened and it became worse in certain ways, although they did pass, relief and different things. They did what they could, I would say.
Yeah.
But yes, this past summer we ran an arts program in Central Park for the youth also to really help them to reconnect, and not just the youth, for adults too, because adults were so disconnected from the arts also from the last year. And if they were involved in the arts, it was on a screen, which looks like we're
Right.
going to be going back to that a little bit
Hmm.
soon. Um,
Yes, art
yes,
is
to
healing.
really get them reconnected. And the arts, you can experience the arts on a screen, and we're offering a Christmas performance online and everything because of the new
Hmm.
variant of the virus. We're not doing it in person, but you can offer arts online, but it will never be the same as seeing a live performance. It won't. or feeling the power and the energy in that room of everyone being excited about the performance, or the energy of the players and the joy that
Right.
they have in bringing their gifts and talents. You can experience some of it through an online performance, but it's not the same as in person. Our ultimate goal, of course, is to have in person everything, but there's been a shift, another shift that has had to happen, and another change really to get people reconnected
Oh,
itself in
it's
these parts.
crucial. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just crucial. Yeah, so I have this information, going back to your original observation, is that I always have as part of my website, which is my brand, I have a
Hmm.
giving back page. And that
Hmm.
giving back page has an explanation of the various organizations I have been involved with. So you'll see Susan G. Komen on there because I'm a breast
Hmm.
cancer survivor of 18 years. You'll see the Crown Jewel Club, where I was a teacher for this after school program. Beautiful nonprofit teaching underserved fifth grade girls how to have manners and etiquette and incredible stuff. Yeah.
Hmm. What else did you experience during COVID? You just talked a little bit about what you experienced, like how you went through the
Yeah.
rebrand. How did your life change during COVID? And
Oh,
what's been most difficult for you?
yeah, that's such a good question, Mary. Oh boy. It was difficult. It was difficult. And one of the main challenges was the isolation
Hmm.
and the lack of quality in life.
Yeah.
Because what happened with COVID, which even to this day I'm still shaking my head, it's like, is this really necessary? For
Right.
all of this,
I
right?
know. We're
All of
still
this.
going through it. I know.
I know. We're still going through it. It's become a normal now, which is really sad. But anyway, the isolation, the lack of quality of life, meaning everything that added connection, quality, enjoyment.
Was
Yes,
stripped,
it
taken
was stripped. It
away,
was
taken
taken
away.
away, like temporarily, but unfortunately, it was so, and no fault of anybody's. This is not about a blame game at all.
Right.
No one knew what they were doing. No, it was all new to everybody, government included. So it's just, yes, is that it was inhumane as far as I'm concerned. As human beings, we have to have connection in person,
Right.
as you were stating, right? Especially with arts and concerts and theater and you name it. Like, we
Hmm.
have to have connection. We
Right.
can't be sitting here on a screen all day. So yes, is that I would say I was fine from when the onset, which was almost the exact date, March 18th. It actually may have been a little bit few days sooner. But March of 2020 through November, I was in survival mode,
Hmm.
meaning I had an online business, right? I had an online business. I didn't have to do anything different. I had coaching clients that went, "Oh my God, help me through this." Everybody, basically stayed with me throughout the year because they needed help. And we were already doing online coaching sessions. So none of that changed, but I was in survival mode to be a leader to help my clients
Hmm.
navigate this crazy wild ride, right?
Right.
And it wasn't until November that I kind of slowed down a little bit and went, oh my God, where am I? Who am I? What am I feeling? Right? And I
Hmm.
felt really very disconnected from myself and others. And I really needed to do a check. I mean, I was even questioning for the first time ever in my life my mental health,
Right.
right? I
Yeah.
typically am very strong and I'm connected. I'm spiritual. It's like I never really had any. I was happy.
Were you seeing
I
your family at all? Like, did your son come and visit
no,
you? No, nobody came to visit.
no.
Were they calling or no?
We had let's see. I think we ended up doing Thanksgiving on Zoom. It was,
Mhm.
I
Okay.
mean, thank God we had it, but it was just an awful
Right.
alternative.
I
Awful
know.
alternative. No,
I know.
no, yeah. I mean, no, I did. In fact, that was one of the casualties of COVID, was my family. I
Right.
haven't seen my family, let's see, since, well, okay, March, April. When did we move? May. So it was
Okay.
May 2020. Yeah, and I was every year seeing my family for holidays, and I have not seen them since, May of 2020. And it did some damage to my family, our relationships. It did for me. So that was a challenge, yeah, for sure. So what I found is with my mental health, and then I guess I can talk to you about the gifts in the challenge.
Hmm.
Always,
Right.
always a gift in
Oh,
the challenge.
definitely. The other part is what are three positive changes that have happened?
Yeah,
Because there's
yeah,
always something good that happens also.
always,
Always.
always, yeah. But what I noticed, and perhaps your listeners can relate with this, and you as well, is when I checked in with my mental health,
Hmm.
is my expanded, expansive
Hmm.
thinking and the way that I operated shrunk.
Okay.
It shrunk. It
In what
contracted.
way?
Yeah, it
How are you
contracted.
not expansive?
It was not expansive in that. Okay, so for example, the previous 3 years, 2017 to 2020, I had up leveled my life in a big way
Hmm.
where I traveled to Italy several times.
Okay.
And it was a whole new thing for me. I might have shared with you prior to our
Hmm.
recording about, our common coach, Gina. And I spent a month long stay. I had a month long stay in Florence, Italy. I worked, I lived, I played. It was my eat, pray, love journey. It was
Hmm.
amazing. And as a result of that, I expanded my wealth consciousness. I expanded my ability to uh, just come out of my smaller thinking,
Hmm.
right? It's bigger thinking in every way. And so I spent 3 years. By the time 2020 came, I was ready to go back for a third time to Italy. I was
Hmm.
planning on it because it takes a certain type of mindset and faith and trust to travel on your own, to go to another country,
Yeah.
right? It's an amazing experience, but boy, it could be scary, right?
Hmm.
At least it was for me, all of the above. It was scary, it was exciting, it was life changing, all that. Then you get stuck at home for 9 months.
Right.
That's going to shut you down.
Right.
That's going to shut that up level down. And that's what happened is my up level that I spent
Well,
3 years building.
well, your idea of what an up level was was shut down. I don't know if your up level actually shut down,
Right.
but because so when you were saying that you went to Italy and you were expanding, and it does broaden you, any travel abroad, any it does broaden you and it opens you up. It also opens you up to deeper service. And so that probably prepared you for deeper service during COVID. That's the thing because I know we were, I was stuck. I've been stuck, and there were so many frustrating days during COVID. Um, but every single day, I was called to deeper service every day, no
Right.
matter what happened. The next day, it was deeper service. And I'm like,
Yeah.
really? How can it get deeper? And every day it got deeper, every day.
Mm-hmm.
So although I wasn't up leveling in like I don't know how to word it. Although I wasn't up leveling in travel and I wasn't up leveling in the way I thought I was going to because I had a totally different plan for my life before COVID.
Yeah. Yeah.
My life did up level in a totally other way that I could not have foreseen. And I was expanded in many other ways that I never thought were even possible. Some of them in frustration for sure. And other times it was a beautiful delight, or realizing this is what I really truly care about and what really matters to me and what is most important to me compared to all the other things. It up leveled my level of fighting with other people too. And I say that as a good thing because um, I think, yeah, I know that in some communication I've sent you that I've said I do consultations and there's certain groups, that I work with. And so there have been many times when I've had to go and say things nobody else would say or could get away with saying in a positive way where I could really call people out so that they
Mhm.
could create the change that needed to be made for everyone.
Right.
And if I didn't have that frustrating moment and that there were moments of like, there was anger, but I usually let go of the anger, but that frustration, if I didn't have that, it wouldn't have propelled me to speak the truth or, for
No,
multiple
that's
people.
really good. Yeah, that's
So,
really good, Mary.
but tell
Yeah.
me, tell me what your positives were from
Yeah,
COVID.
sure. Oh, yeah. No, always a gift in the challenge. That is for sure. So, yeah, there were definitely three of them. One is when I took a look at, and it was I think it was the beginning of this year, when we all were, when the vaccinations started coming out, and we're all going, oh, maybe there's hope or whatever. And I know that's a very touchy subject, so I'm not going to talk about that. But yeah, as the beginning of the year, I thought, oh, okay. It's like you just got out of this big storm, and now you're
Right.
looking at what's left. Like, okay, what
Hmm.
do I need to pick up the pieces, right? And one of those pieces were my personal relationships. So
Right.
I had some, right? I realized, as I was going through these changes because of COVID and the introspection, there were friendships, longtime friendships that I had in my life, but boy, did they need some loving.
Hmm.
They needed attention, and I needed to pick that pace up. I
Hmm.
needed to do some apologies and make some phone calls and all of that and get very transparent and vulnerable. And I did that with my high school best friend.
Wow.
And yeah, and absolutely love her so much. And we've known each other since 13 years old. And as a result of repairing that relationship, it kind of went sideways about 3 years prior. Is that I ended up not only with her, but then with her and her husband, but another longtime friend who lived in Northern California, where she did actually live in
Hmm.
Oregon. I planned a trip. What I did was, after all was said and done and the reconnection happened with all of them, I said, I'm going to do a summer vacation. It's going to be called my friendship vacation. And
Hmm.
I planned, it was 9 days, and I flew up to Northern California and to Oregon and spent time with these two, couples, these two separately. They knew of
Hmm.
each other, but didn't know each other. And I spent quality time with my best friend from high school and her husband that she'd been married to for a long time. I spent 4 days with my other good friends that I'd known since junior high. And it was like the best healing, right? So that's number one, is repaired and healed long-term friendships. The second one was, I alluded to this, I took a stand for my boundaries with my family,
Hmm.
right? Where before I was kind of softer, if you will, in allowing certain things. And uh, in my introspection, I'm like, no, 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 I'm tired of the dysfunction of accepting irrational behavior that was going on.
Okay.
I mean, we all have it in our families, and I'm
Hmm.
just like, I'm just so done with it, done with it, done. And set up some boundaries and so forth, and I feel so much more healthy, empowered, confident, because I wasn't allowing those irrational behaviors to dictate me. Right?
Hmm.
And then the third one was my rebrand. Is that what the beautiful gift and the challenge was? I came up with this whole new rebrand, did a photo shoot, talked about earlier about what happened, created a new lifestyle division. I'm
Hmm.
going to be teaching at some point next year how to have a month-long stay in Italy, just like I did. How to have a work and live stay. Teaching enlightened reinvention, which is exactly what I did, the enlightened route. Um, oh my gosh, all creativity, all sorts of fun
Hmm.
content. Because
Hmm.
the business coaching, I mean, it's there, but boy, man, it is masculine.
Hmm.
Structures and systems and money making and leverage. It's like, okay, I need some fun play adventure in here.
Hmm.
So, yeah. So those are the three beautiful gifts out of that big, big challenge.
Do you feel like you're remaking yourself with your rebrand?
It always. It always
Okay.
happens that way. It's not my first. I mean, being that personal branding is a natural part of who I am and it's my knowledge and my skill
Hmm.
set. Every time you do a personal brand and you rebrand yourself, it's because remember, you are the brand, not what you do.
Right.
Is that you're rebranding because you've changed.
Right.
And as a business owner, you should always, every 2 years at least, be changing out your photographs, be changing your content on your website because you've changed,
Hmm.
right? So it's about
Yeah.
being of integrity to who you are showing up in the world. So you bet it's a reinvention. Yeah.
What inspires you to do what you do every day and to continue doing what you do every day?
Yeah. Oh, right. There's a lot, but I'll zero in on one. The constant craving daily to live in my creativity and my joy. In fact, I'm going to be creating, I'm in the middle, behind the scenes, as part of the rebrand. I'm producing my own podcast
Okay.
that's going to come out next year, early next year, which is called Follow Your Joy. Follow your joy, where intuition is the doorway to your wisdom,
Hmm.
your your genius, and your joy. Um, Anyone that knows me, that's kind of my motto in life: is if you're not following your joy in everything you do, and especially work, if you're not following your joy, what are you following? What are
Oh,
you? You hear what I'm saying?
I'm
What?
hearing what you're saying. There's a very big question that always comes up with this, and I face it. I face it quite a bit.
Okay.
And it's you are following your joy and you are following what you think is joyful, and then your work becomes unjoyful. How do you handle that? Or so, we've dealt with some pretty crazy topics over the year, and we're still working on a new one now. So I'm joyful about the people I work with. I'm joyful for the changes we've made. I'm joyful about the work that I do. I know I'm making a difference in the world.
Yeah.
I love it. It's very soul filled. It's in that way there's deep inner joy. But man, when there are heavy topics and heavy conflicts and heavy everything, I'm like, I really don't like it. Or if I really have to keep having the same conversation with someone, I'm like, enough. you know
Yeah,
and there
sure.
isn't joy in that. There isn't. Or like in my case, so you were talking about your last year. My last year I was able to see my family. This year has been harder to see my family. This year is the first year since my children have been born where they've had to go a couple months without seeing me. And that is hard for me and it is hard for them. Like it is very difficult. And I'm like, if this is what it is, I'm not doing this. I don't
Yeah.
say yes to this. Although I'm joyful about what I do and I'm joyful about, the people I'm in communication with and the changes that they're trying to make and everything,
Mhm.
there's a point in me where I'm like, if it keeps going on like this,
Yeah.
my answer is no. My answer is no,
Yeah.
because I know my children are my joy. I
Yeah.
know in my life right now, and
Yeah.
as they get
Yeah.
older, of course, I'll have to let go more. When my children are your children's age, your
Yeah.
child's age,
Yeah.
a couple of months not seeing them, or maybe even half a year is going to be okay, probably, maybe around that time. But right now, they're only 16. I'm like, no, no, they need me in their life right now. And
Absolutely.
as teenagers right now, they need me going through this and they need to see me and have time with me. It's like, and other people need to honor and respect that, right? There's a,
Correct.
and it,
Correct.
yeah, so it gives me joy. And I'm not the only one in this situation where you have that deep inner joy. but something keeps happening or something comes in conflict with that that takes away your joy.
Well,
You
okay,
know,
yeah, that's where the boundaries come in. I
yeah,
mean, by following your joy, it doesn't mean that life still doesn't happen to you.
right. I know.
Following, you know what I'm saying? Is like
I
following your
know
joy.
what you mean.
Right? It's not this Pollyanna thing. It's for
Right.
real. And
Right.
what it means is it's your constant North Star
Mhm.
to keep you centered. And when you're not in your joy, you better pay attention to it because it
Mhm.
needs change, as in whatever's going on to take you away from the joy. Does that make sense?
How do you recommend people stay true to their joy? What brings them joy? How they stay true to that and not let that
By
go.
by constantly making sure that whatever is taking them away from the joy either gets delegated, automated, or deleted from your life.
I love it. Delegated, automated, or deleted.
It's actually, I'll be honest, this is part of my coaching with now with life, but also with business, and that is it's my acronym for ADD: automate, delegate, or delete. Right? You can
Yeah.
use that in the context of what we're talking about is that if anything that doesn't align with your joy, now yes, they're gonna require some work, if you will, right? Some systems and strategies, whatever you're doing in your life. But if any one person or one situation does not align with your joy, either automate it, delegate it, or delete it. It's
Okay.
like get it out of there. That's called boundaries.
Yeah. So now I'm gonna ask you probably the toughest question anybody's been asked. Like during this time of COVID. COVID is not joy. It's not.
Oh,
We can't
of course
automate
not.
it and we can't delegate it and we can't delete it. So now what?
I do. No, that's a really good question. I don't dictate my life based on outside circumstances.
Yeah.
It is what it is, and I honor whatever mask I need to wear, and I honor the things that we need to do. But that has no jurisdiction over my joy.
Good.
What I do every day with clients and me honoring what makes me happy and the joy, we don't have the restrictions we had last year.
Hmm.
Thank you, God, for that. But and this is also again what I coach. It's like don't allow the outside conditions to affect who you are and what brings you joy.
Right.
For the most part, I can have access to concerts. I got to wear a mask. I can have access to going to events. I got to wear a mask. Right? I can have access to going to art shows, but I got to wear a mask. It doesn't matter. It still brings me joy. Right? So everything that I'm choosing to spend my time on,
Hmm.
if it's not bringing me joy, in fact, I just did this today. Right? Again, life is happening for you, not against you. Isn't that what
Hmm.
that saying is? Happening for you, not at you or
Hmm.
to you. And I was re-looking at some things that were happening for me, and I was just typing out, and I
Hmm.
typed out what is no longer fun for me, and what is fun for me, and I want to do more of. And this was for my business. I'm
Hmm.
still right in the middle of this rebrand. And so I started typing out what really is not fun for me very much anymore.
Hmm.
And I got real truthful with myself and then made a list of what I do. It's like what I'm doing is I'm paying attention, for example, when I'm coaching, the types of people I'm coaching, what I'm coaching, the content I'm coaching. And that's where I'm zeroing in right now as part of this, reinvention. And I'll be honest with you, some of what I'm beginning to really notice how much masculine energy I need to be in is the business coaching.
Hmm.
The nuts and bolts of business drive me nuts. I do it. I mean, I do it. I run it. It's how I run my
Hmm.
business. I teach it. But man, teaching it causes me to live in my masculine. I don't want to be somebody's police woman. What do you mean you didn't get that done? What do you mean this didn't happen? But, I mean, it's like, I don't want to be doing that with people's lives. I mean, that's unfortunately what a business coach does. And I
Yeah.
don't want to do that. I'm so glad you're laughing.
I
It's
know
the
I'm
truth.
laughing because this literally just happened tonight. I had to write to people and be like, okay, clearly you still need the fire of me under your butt. you know?
I know.
Uh,
I don't want to be that. I mean,
and
that's exactly my point. I'm like, you know what? We're all adults here. You know what? I do not want to be emailing, texting, WhatsApping a client going, where's your assignments? Why didn't you send me your assignments on time? I'm like,
yeah, it's not even
I
the assignments for me. I'm just like,
am.
here's their assignment for the globe, and you are missing it. Like, I don't know what to tell you right now.
I mean, you're constantly corralling people to stay in a momentum, right? You're constantly corralling people to stay into a momentum because your
Right.
program is a
Mm-hmm.
curriculum that if you do it, you get the result that it's proven to give you.
Mm-hmm.
But if you start taking these detours all along the way, it's like it's going to drive the coach nuts because
Yeah.
you're like corralling people to
Mm-hmm.
stay within a system and a pace and all of that, and you're like, but sometimes that's just not going to work. So you got to kind of like, okay, lean back. All
Mm-hmm.
right, so that means it just the whole thing is so draining. It's just
Yeah, see,
draining.
but I'm being refilled through our whole conversation. That's why I can sit here and laugh now because about, an hour ago, I was like, okay, I just got to get this out and actually say this to these people so that way they know what they're actually doing and what this actually looks like for everybody else.
Right.
And now in the conversation with you, I can not release it in the conversation, but I was already releasing before I spoke to you,
Yeah.
but really step back into being refilled and having that
Good.
joy come back so
Oh
that the next time I
yeah.
have to talk to them.
No, I mean 100%. And so what I'm doing, this is all under the topic of following your joy and being
Right.
very, very loyal
Right.
to your joy, right? And that is as I'm working and coaching and doing this or that. I'm making a mental note, going, okay, that was fun. I like doing that. That was fun. I enjoyed that process,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I'm making a mental note, and I like the result that's coming out of it. I'm
Right.
making a mental note that says, okay, I need to do more of that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I'm going to choose what I'm going to coach. So,
Yeah.
for example, I love coaching. Whenever I coach creativity
Mm-hmm.
and what I call it creative renewal, right? Getting in relationship with your creativity instead of it just kind of being this thing that's there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it amazes me at what happens with clients when we light them back up, or I should say,
Yeah.
help light them back up through the content, our discussions. I've got people just today, a client that realized, and she's got a nonprofit for women in music,
Mm-hmm.
and she just realized she has neglected her love of, she's a writer, she likes to
Mm-hmm.
write. She wants to be like an award-winning lyricist in
Okay.
music. And she just got this through what we're coaching. She goes, I cannot believe I didn't honor this, and it's been 30 years. That lights me up like
Mm-hmm.
crazy. I will take that 10 times a day rather than a ridiculous leverage of your business structure. It's like,
Yeah.
maybe you're going to need to find someone else to teach you the business structure because it is not lighting me up right now. It's too masculine for me. It causes
Well,
too much
yeah.
friction.
And there
Anyway,
is a point with the joy, there is a point with persevering through, even when you have those difficult moments, know that your deep inner joy is still intact and hold on to that and persevere through. Like even tonight, I was like, if you don't do this, then you have to do that. I was still helping them through the problem and having joy in helping them through the problem while making them realize what the biggest problem is, and how to help them
absolutely.
solve their problem.
Yeah,
But yeah.
absolutely. Yeah. But what's important, the difference is if the challenge keeps showing up, this
Mm-hmm.
is this is the difference. course you're going to need to, deal with a challenge, a one-off challenge. But if the challenge and the flavor of the challenge keeps showing up, there's a problem, there's a pattern.
Yeah.
Get rid of it.
Yeah.
Change it, shift it, recalibrate it, get rid of it. It's no longer just a challenge.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, we are on time, on time where we said we would cut.
So that's a wrap for another episode of A Woman Full of Soul. Check out Marla Diann at marladiann.com. Check out her free resources on her website. Again, that's at marladiann.com. Also follow her on Instagram at marla_Diann and check in with some of her lives. Really be inspired by her work. She does a fabulous job at really creating that balance between the masculine and the feminine. We will have Marla Diann on again for another episode shortly. So stay posted and stay tuned. Thank you for tuning in this time. God bless. Ciao and arrivederci.